Okay, that was my first longish flight with the VR Pro app in the iPhone 12, and not bad. It do get a bit of curtaining. I don't, if you know what I mean by curtaining, is like where the field's been ploughed, you know, the lines. If you yaw, it sort of curtains, flickers a little bit. I didn't find I have to adjust the brightness, because what I've done in the Samsung phone with Litchi is I set the brightness so it doesn't dim the brightness when you put it in the goggles, because it's obviously dark in there. And I found that I would like it a bit brighter, so I'm going to have a look at the iPhone's brightness settings and set it. Not really bright, but a bit more than half, between half and full brightness, about 75%. And another thing I found, yeah, it's a bit more pixely, dotty, but I might not have it in HD. So let's go back to, I've still got the drone on. I like this cable. It fits in the hole better. You see, I've made a hole here in my goggles. It gets to go through there to hold the phone in. I've used these goggles for years now, and they've been travelling a lot. It has a black cover there. Anyway, back to the head tracking. I've not used that at all. I want to get out of, oh yeah, let's do that. Right, now I'm back in the normal screen. Let's see if there's an HD setting. Flight mode, compass, IMU, status, normal. Didn't ask me to calibrate anything. I had the normal contact and range I would with the Litchi app. I don't think it's anything to do with the app, it's the drone itself. I note sometimes if I go to turn round, I can lose the signal. But I just flew over this lemon field here. This is a permitted area, and you just get nobody there really most of the time. Flew over the lemon field and up to about 80 metres, and then came back again round a water reservoir. But obviously here I've got a lot of interference. The best thing you can do when you fly a drone is have line of sight. You know, you can connect without interference to your drone with the transmitter. Don't have trees or anything in the way, and you'll lose the signal. Right, done all that. You see what I'm looking for: radio channel quality, aircraft battery, temperature, gimbal status normal, format, SD card storage. Oh yes. What else we got here? Settings, distance and altitude. Use internal storage. Don't want to use internal storage. You've got follow or FPV. I've used both. Just try them, see which one you prefer. There's the VR settings. Head tracking's off. There's not much else you can do there. Then we go to, what's that one? Return to home. Hasn't got anything there in that app about brightness or HD, making it HD quality. It does in the Go app, and in Litchi you've got camera. Let's go to the DJ app. Despegar con cuidado, take off with care. Right. I did like in the screen, you have your home point. It's there at the bottom on the right, and then you turn and it comes back into the screen, so you can see your home point. It's like a green circle with an H in the middle. You don't get that with Litchi. I get an arrow, that's all. And to come back, I normally follow the back of the arrow. But you can see what way the drone is in the VR goggles with the VR Pro. Right, let's have a look at the settings here. The camera. You know, I've done JPEG and RAW. I have found that RAW photos are massive, and they're good. Yeah, you can edit them better. You know, if you want to make it more reddish for a sunset or something. Definitely have it 16.9 size. But I don't think a JPEG, if you zoom in on a raw image, it's not really much better than a JPEG, and it's probably 5 to 8 times bigger. Now, you'd be looking at 40 megabytes in the Air 2S. On this Air 2, it would be about 20 megabytes. It's totally unnecessary. You can get a good JPEG on the Air 2, and you can zoom in on that to see detail. For 5 megabytes, I was hoping with raw pictures you would get a much more detail when you zoomed in, but you don't really. That's my experience, that raw photos aren't fantastically better really to zoom in on. They might be better to edit, but I haven't really done a lot of editing. I have edited a few pictures when they look a bit dark, made them lighter. Just talking about my card there. So it doesn't say anything about HD transmission. So very often it's 720 or 1080 transmission. Linears, I don't want that. Format. Yeah. Synchronization automatically of photos HD. Save in the cache, Manchester grabber. Save in the cache of the camera while you take them. Grabber. Synchronization automatic of the photos HD. Guarda in la cache, Manchester grabber. I don't know, I think I'll try that. So put that on, you've got a bit more down here, haven't you? Oh yeah, capacity maximum, the cache to video, 2 GB. Cache to video, it's a super. I'll leave that alone, it's on 2, isn't it? Yeah, 2 GB cache. So it's got nothing there about HD, unfortunately, which it does in the Go app and Litchi. Here we are. Platform of emission in direct transmission, I would say. Definition, fluida or HD, so it's in HD. But I wanted to make it more HD, so because it was a bit grainier than in the Samsung and with Litchi. Fluida, should I try Fluida? Let's try Fluida. It's not going to be as detailed though, is it? That's Fluida. Can you zoom? Can you do that? Can you do that as well? With Litchi, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want that. With Litchi, you can do that. And, oh yes, it's moving the camera now, look at that. Yeah, that's good. Move, so you could have an iPad or your phone and move the camera, make it static, move the camera around, or follow a car moving. Don't use it much because I've got VR activated. So here we are in the fly-up. There is no VR here, unfortunately, because DJI sell goggles, don't they? They don't want to make VR in their app. People would use their phones instead of buying their goggles. Fluida. So we've gone into Fluida. Let's go into HD. Does it change the screen? It does something. Does it look sharper? And can I zoom by holding that down? No, zoom's not working. But sometimes it only works with Litchi. What it's doing is it's making the light go on the bottom of the... So that activates the light on and off when they're in the fly app. But very often when you're recording video, let's try that then. Record video. What we're in, camera or video? That's a photo. Let's change it to. How do you change it to? I was going to say, while I'm recording a video, oh, there it is. What's that? And that's the photos in the fly up. Yeah, you can see your photos, which I can't in Litchi. No. So, but I normally take the SD card out and put that in the SD card reader and put it into my laptop. Then I do what I want with them, save them, put them into my movie. But the zoom works with the video working with Litchi. I only got it working the other day, but it doesn't work in photo. Or if you're not recording at all, it doesn't work. It's strange. It only works when you're recording video. You can zoom. And zoom, you do that by holding that down, and then you zoom in and out. What this is doing is it's making the camera go up and down, you see. It's interesting learning what these different apps can do, little details like that. I only found that the zoom worked the other day because I was recording in video and I thought I'd zoom in and it worked. I'd never seen it before because I'd tried it before without the video going or in the photo to zoom in, and it didn't work, but it's quite good. It's almost as good as the Mavic 2 zoom, but believe that the first two zooms are optical. I think it's about 6 zoom. Take off there, don't want that. I never use that. I always take off manually. And lately I've been landing in my hand. If I'm on somewhere dust, and I don't want the drone landing in dust. It will create its own dust, you see, with the propeller, so it's cleaner to land it in your hand, but be careful. But you put your hand underneath the drone and it senses your hands there, and then it lowers into, you can lower it down into your hand, but you have to put the hand there first. Dual band, yep, got that. What else we got here? Info, firmware with the remote control. Let's see. No, it doesn't do anything. I have just updated it anyway. Number and Mavic. Okay, so this is the settings of the fly up, which are more basic. It's in FPV, you see the camera there. Let's put it into so there. It's a bit different.
Altitude zone reached.
It's similar. Try it in Modo FPV. Haven't done that before. But with the Litchi app, it is in. I have it in FPV. But sometimes I found I didn't like it. I put it into follow mode. What's that then? Action. Anti-collision. I haven't got anti-collision because I've been flying in sport. Put that into normal mode. You see, that comes back. Avoid, brake, and or deactivate it. Anti-collision, there it is, on the Mavic Air 2. Some people don't like it, because if you're in a house, you know, or going between trees, it will stop you. Auxiliary lights, you can turn it off. That's the LED below. Find my drone. Yeah, you don't want to do this while you're flying, and that I have thought about it because I do fly sometimes. Like if you're out at sea and you wanted to fly along the beach, but looking at it, you want to have the drone facing the beach, and then you'd be flying. So to do that, you'd yaw. So I'd yaw like that to get facing the beach, and then if I want to go left, I'd use the right stick left. So you're actually panning down the beach or panning looking at a car, but you're flying sideways. That's a good film trick, rather than head tracking or anything else. It's just a fly sideways or fly backwards, and you can turn the drone to face whatever you want. So why do you need head tracking? Anyway, this has worried me. If I could be going left, and if I did that right, it would assume it's emergency and cut the props and fall out of the air. Move at the same time, the same sticks to the corners, inferiors, back to 10 use with precaution. Solo for emergencies. I think I'm going to turn it off. In whatever moment. No, you can't turn it off. I could go into whatever moment, use solo with precaution. I'm not going to do that. So at the moment it's only in emergencies. Well, how does it tell it's an emergency if it's not an emergency? Losing the signal, al perder la señal. If you lose the signal, return to point origin, I would say, RPO. You don't want it to land, you don't want it to stay still, you want it to come back. Of course you do. But with litchi, you can have it dynamic home point or return. Dynamic would be return to wherever the transmitter is. So if you go up a mountain, you've flown up a mountain, then you've lost control, you're not in the same home point, you want it to come back to the transmitter. So I have dynamic home point, but I can't set that here. I think with litchi, you're actually getting the functions you get in the Go 4 app that you get with, maybe they don't all work, but what the app you get with the Mavic 2 and the Mavic 3 Pros is the Go 4 app. It's better, it's more, there's more things you can do, and dynamic hotspot is one of them, which it hasn't got here, so litchi wins on that point. I can't have dynamic hotspot. If you'd moved after takeoff, can you hear thunder today? Can you hear it? Or it's like explosions, but boom, boom, boom. But we are in a seismic area. So what's this? It's the LED, you see? It's going on. Turn it off. That's good. Don't use it. It comes on at night, or at dusk. Just unblock Zona's GOE. Find my drone. Yeah, that works. Good. So that's the fly app has to start. It starts the fly app, and then you go out of the fly app. And then I go into VR Pro, you see, I've got it there in my home screen. So from VR Pro, I can then go into, what's that one? Oh, that's taking everything off the screen. nice and clean. I go into VR. Head tracking on or off. So I can turn it on and off. I like to be reminded about that, so I'm not going to tell it not to show me again. So there we are. See? Working. What I like about Litchi is it goes straight back to Litchi. Or I can start the phone, start the drone, plug it in, and Litchi comes up, because in defaults it has put Litchi first. Or you can have it saying, do you want to open the Fly app, Go for, or Litchi? So you can make it default. But then again, if you want to use the Fly app to do something or download software, you've got to go to defaults and deactivate Litchi in defaults in settings. Oh, I learned that just by playing around. Head tracking on or off. I just tried head tracking and I just got a bit mareado, dizzy, I suppose. Sick feeling. So you can point your head sideways, you can see sideways, and continue flying forward, but you're not looking forward. So I want to be looking in the direction I'm flying, really, most of the time. Unless I know I'm out at sea and I'm panning down a beach and I know there's nothing there. Could be a bird coming. Great. So that's my review of the application VR Pro that you can buy to work with the iPhone and Android, I think. It's designed by, I think, a French gentleman. I've forgotten his name. But it's quite an old app, but I'm sure they've updated it. I was hoping it would work VR with the Mavic 3. Then I might be tempted to buy the Mavic 3, but I'm not at the moment because I'm not going to be able to use the goggles to buy the Mavic 3. I haven't actually found an application you can use with your phone and to fly the Mavic 3 because DJI haven't released the SDK yet, they call it. And they've only recently done it with, I had a beta version of the Mavic 2 for Litchi, and that was the first time I saw it working with I was amazed, and it also works with the Mini now. Okay, thanks for listening to my discussions on these on Litchi and VR Pro for flying your DJI drone VR goggles. You can buy the goggles like the Avatar. It comes with the new goggles. It looks very nice, the Signal. But the Avatar with the stick, you only get the joystick. I don't think the range is very good. People complain about the range. They go 100 meters behind a tree and they've lost the contact. Then you need the remote, which is similar to this, but it's not the same. I don't think you compare this with the Avatar. Well, you need another remote, so the whole lot's going to come to about 1,900 euros for the little Avatar, which only flies for about 10-15 minutes. And if you pay 1,450 for the combo version in here, you're only going to get the stick. So you're going to get half the range they will in America, FCC, CE here. And people are complaining about that and sending it back. Well, too right. I want more range than going, I'll go up there and I've lost contact with it. And it's very important to have good signal, more than you need, because you might go past, there's some wires there, you see, so I go under them. There's a metal fence there. It's all going to affect its transmission. So better transmission is definitely better and help you, especially if you get behind a tree or you're flying in the land is curved and you've lost direct line of sight with it. You don't want to lose contact. It's unsafe and you're going to return to home. Okay. Well, anything else to say about Litchi and the VI Pro? Which one would I use? I've got the Android phone in here as well. Let's get it out. The Samsung This is my Samsung S10. It's fully charged. I like it because it's so thin, and it's a plus size, you see. So I get more screen, but it went well with this. But I didn't find that the detail. Let's make the camera go up a bit. Didn't find the detail, although it's clean, an iPhone. I don't think the screen's got as many dots per inch with the iPhone 12 as the old Samsung S10. They used to pride themselves on their DPI. From the S8, remember, is 680 dots per inch. I assume that although an iPhone screen is very bright, it might be that my iPhone Pro Max that I'm recording this with probably has a better, higher dots per inch screen than the normal iPhone. It's another thing to look at. But litchi was just a touch better, but they're both good. But I've enjoyed learning what the VR Pro does. I like the return to home in it. And there's things I like in litchi, like dynamic hotspot, so it's going to return to you where you're standing. Like here, I don't want it landing here because I'm inside a porch. It comes, it can't come through the roof. If it was returning to home, I'd go out there, so it's got a clear. You can see me to land without being interfered with any object in the way, like a tree or, like in here, there's obviously the ceiling of this porch. And I think a lot of people don't realise that you can fly VR with your phone, and they stick to flying, putting the phone here or an iPad. And many have never flown at FPV, which is a shame, because with FPV, you're in the drone, you're in control, you can get closer to the trees. If I put the phone in here, and it's a sunny day, I can hardly see it, unless I go in the shade. I might not want to go in the shade. But you could sit on a beach, for example, with these. Cuts out all the sun. You're in the drone, you can see all the controls, the battery levels, your return to home position. And for me, it's much better, safer to fly FPV. The alternative is to buy the big, bulky DJI goggles, which are, I don't know, 500 euros. I don't want them, they're big. I just want a light, something simple and good, like these Oculus VR goggles. And the battery life on the Air 2 is really good, even after 2 years. But I got the Flying More combo, and the batteries fit the Air 2S. I had the Air 2S for about a week, and I sent it back. But I was in two minds. Sometimes I miss it, and I'm actually looking for another one. But the thing I don't like is that the battery life is 5 minutes better on this one because it's got less. And they fly almost identically. In sport mode, this is as fast as the Air 2S, but in normal mode, it's about 10 kilometers slower. And the Air 2S has got more collision sensors. It'll have 2 at the back, 2 there, I believe. But why do you want 2 Air 2s? If I had the Air 2S, I'm not going to use this, so I've put it up for sale. If I sell it, then I'll get the Air 2S. But I'd like to see what the Air 3 maybe would be like. It could be coming out soon. But for 700, 800 euros off Amazon, with the box opened as new, it's far better than 1,950, isn't it, for the Mavic 3, which is bigger, and you can't use VR goggles in your phone. Maybe you could use DJI's small goggles. I don't know. I'd have to Google it. It's my thoughts. very happy with the Air 2. For travelling, it's better. I've used the Mavic Mini and I find it too light. People have it because you don't need a license under 250 grams, but it's easy to get the license. Just go on the internet, fill in the form, do a little exam. These are much more stable in wind than the Mavic Mini. Well, obviously it's 250 grams. This is more than double. There we have it. Thanks for watching.